what can they afford really to visually, commercially have a half-empty Wembley for the semi-final? Because Chelsea are unable to sell tickets for it.
I very much doubt that will happen. Simon might have a better idea how the FA go about filling the stadium or how they distribute tickets, but there's no way I can see that semi-final being half-empty. I mean, from a financial point of view, it'd be ridiculous from the FA. But I don't know, Simon, what do you think? What could they do? Could they gift the tickets or just sell them to other...
They can do a variety of things, like pull themselves together and work out a solution for receiving money into the FA that doesn't get distributed to Chelsea. It's not bloody difficult. I mean, this is an example. When we start talking about independent regulation in this country and people requiring it and government involvement, this is an example of government involvement in sport.
So you can still sell them to Chelsea fans, but the FA keep the money?
Well, this is my argument all along. What is the point of taking revenue away from Chelsea on the basis that it doesn't go to Roman Abramovich when you can do it without affecting the sporting integrity of the game? It's not difficult. The FA can intercede, the government can intercede and say, here's a wall between what Chelsea fans are buying tickets for and who it goes to. But we'll take that money and we'll distribute it back to Chelsea when it changes ownership.
No, Simon, the government's not going to change its stance.
Of course it can.
They're showing no signs of doing it.
It's already changed its stance on the cost implications of Chelsea being able to travel and the cost implications of Chelsea being able to put on home games, which I find incredible. On one hand, Chelsea are saying they've got no money. On the other hand, they're saying, can we increase the cost of games from 500 grand in expenses to 900 grand? Which one is it? Got no money or want to spend more money on expenses of a game?
So what are we going to see when Chelsea play the semi-final? What's Wembley going to look like?
One would like to think that common sense will prevail. There's not going to be a shortage of people that can pick up the tickets. You give allocations to clubs, you give allocations to dignitaries. What we don't want is a stadium full of people that are sort of the liggers of football that hang on around it and get the corporate tickets and get around it and all the FA badges and all the FA ties. We don't want those guys in there.
True.
We want the people that support the clubs.
Yeah.
So in an ideal world, the FA have got to grow up, as have the Premier League, not in this instance the Premier League dictate, and the government, and say, our job is to make sure that the transfer of this ownership isn't in any shape or form benefiting a Russian owner, right? So that's the key component, but that doesn't mean you stop them from taking revenue. And the laughable thing is, Jim, the money that you got from that game against Middlesbrough, 45% of it went to Chelsea anyway, because the gate receipts are split. So the Newcastle fans that were paying 20 quid a ticket, £9 of that money was going to Chelsea. So how have you stopped Chelsea from getting money out of a game? Have you ever heard anything so ridiculous?
Right. So the way it stands...
So the answer is the FA need to change the licence to amend the ability and to ring fence off any money that's being taken on the basis of it goes to Chelsea at a later stage and not now. Not difficult, is it?
I mean, or even it doesn't go to them.
Well, there's no reason for it not to go to them.
But even if that was some sort of punishment they decide to... surely it's better having the Chelsea fans in there supporting the team.
You've got to separate the two things, Danny.
Yeah.
You've got to separate the punishment of Roman Abramovich and the punishment of Chelsea Football Club.
Right.
Okay? Roman Abramovich is one thing. Chelsea Football Club is a living, breathing organism that has its own lifespan.
Yeah, but one leads to the other.
Well, no, only...
If you punish Abramovich, you're going to have to punish the club down the line.
Only if the money is receipted for Chelsea for the benefit of Roman Abramovich. If they get £1 million out of these gate receipts for the FA Cup semi-final, in the final they don't get anything. The gate receipts are given to the FA, so you don't get revenue from the gate receipts for an FA Cup final. But in the semi-final you do. You pool all the tickets for the 4 games and divide 2 games and divide them between the 4 teams. That's how it works.
Right.
On a ratio, I think, 45%. Or 50% or 45% of 60% of the gate receipts. The rest goes off to grassroots in the FA and gets peed against the wall by the FA and their lack of understanding. But the bottom line is that this revenue should be ring-fenced, should be protected, and Chelsea fans should be able to go to this game.
And you're saying it can be quite simple.
Well, of course it can. If you can licence them to be able to take money for catering, then you can licence them to be able to take money for tickets, and you can ring-fence it off. And the thing is, like Middlesbrough, you know, the gate receipts for an away team coming to... When Chelsea fans travel to... Let's say they're playing Newcastle in the league away, right? That money that Chelsea fans are paying for tickets for Newcastle away isn't their money. It's Newcastle's money.
Right.
So why would you stop Newcastle from getting the benefit of away fans? And more to the point, why would you stop Chelsea fans from going there to keep the sporting integrity when the money isn't Chelsea's anyway?
So what's the point then?
Well, to summarise this,
people don't know what they're doing, Danny. That's the point.
We need a change of stance from the government,
of course,
to get Chelsea fans into Wembley.
We need a change of licence,
yes.
which is a very simple discussion.
Yeah.
Get old Bucky boy out of the back door and, you know, up front where he should be, because he's the guy that's had his hand in Roman Abramovich's pocket for the last 19 years and running the football club for Chelsea, and to represent things properly, rather than popping up to say, let's take away the gate receipts from Middlesbrough.
Why is there so much incompetence around?
What, in English football?
Well, the FA for a start, or the government for making a licence.
Well, that's why you have the background noise, things like independent regulation, because there's a vacuum of leadership. If there was proper leadership, you wouldn't need independent regulation arguments being put forward. You'd have proper management.
Sure.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.